this video, we're going to make a go bag. As a matter of fact, we're going to make this go bag for less than $25. Think it can't be done? Stick around and find out. Hey folks, this is Mike with the Thrifty Prepper, and in this video, we're going to make this go bag for less than $25, or at least that's my goal. So first and foremost, let's talk about what the concept of a go bag is. A go bag, some people also know it as a bug out bag, is a bag that you have packed, ready to grab and go, that's got everything in it you need in case you need to make a hasty exit from your house and you're going to be gone for, the general rule is anywhere from 1 to 3 days, 24 to 72 hours. Is that even a realistic possibility? Yeah, unfortunately, yes. I mean, there's a lot of natural disasters, floods, flash floods, fires, anything can happen that can make it to where you just have to leave your house and leave in a hurry. From personal experience, I know someone who was sitting at home one afternoon and got a knock on the door and found out it was the police saying that there was some construction going on and the construction guys hit a gas line. So they gave his family 10 minutes to grab everything they needed and get out of the house. And when they left, they weren't sure exactly when they was going to come back. Luckily, he was, let's say, prepping minded. So he already had his go bag. Everybody in his family had his go bag. So they were able to take everything they need and get out the door in less than the 10 minutes. The idea is if you have everything packed and ready to go, if the situation arises where you need to leave, you're not scrambling around trying to decide what to take, what to leave, where to go, and any of that fun stuff. So that's the concept behind a go bag. So let's talk about what goes in one. And in the process, we'll build this, again, this very bag here, for my ultimate goal is less than $25. So let's take a look and see how that's done. All right, first and foremost, you need the bag. Gotta have something to put it in. I just use this. This is a basic little cinch bag. It's actually a promotional item that I got from somewhere. The nice thing about that, zero cost. You're not looking to have anything fancy. You can actually use anything that will hold something. An old grocery bag, the reusable grocery bags are nice for this. If you happen to have an old backpack, maybe your kids have a backpack that they're not using anymore, you can upcycle that and get some new life out of it. Essentially just anything that you could put stuff in. My recommendation is to not use luggage, partially because people then have, with a tendency with luggage is you tend to pack it too much. You obviously you want to travel light. You're looking at 24 to 36 hours of time away from your house, so you don't want to carry everything in your house with it. It's one less thing to keep up with. So something small, something efficient, and again something that you don't have to have a lot of money in. Total cost on this was zero since it was literally just sitting in my closet. So that's a great place to start. Okay, next we move on to the communication section. So the stuff in this section helps you communicate with other people, your loved ones, your friends and family. It also helps you maintain communication with what's going on in the outside world so you know what's happening. You know if you're going somewhere, if you're coming back from somewhere, where to go, which roads are safe, which routes you should take. The first thing on that is not really pictured because it's pretty straightforward. You need a hard copy of what we call your emergency communication list. So essentially this is a list of the people in your house and your friends and family that you're responsible for. These are people that if something goes down, you want them to know, you want to know where they are, you want them to know where you are. So for that, it's just a basic piece of paper. I always recommend hard copy because again, you're not really sure what's going to happen. So if you have a hard copy, you're not relying on your cell phone. And if you have the numbers written down, you're not necessarily relying on having your actual phone because I don't know about you, I don't have all the numbers in my phone memorized. So write them all down. Hard copy, make sure everybody has a copy. So what goes on it? You'll want, obviously, the people's names. You'll want their phone number. Every phone number that you have for them. If they have a cell phone, if they have a landline in their house, if they have a direct line at work or at school, wherever they are, any of those. And also anything that is basically an alternative method of communication. So the email, any social media platforms that they're on, Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or anything where they have like a direct messaging that you can reach them with. The thought process behind that is if something happens and there's a disaster in your area, the first thing everyone's going to do is they're going to pick up their cell phone and start calling people. And cell phone towers are designed to have a threshold of data volume of calls that they can handle. And if they go above that, they're going to start dropping calls. So during an average day, they don't get anywhere near that threshold. But if something goes down and everyone starts grabbing their phone and calling people, they're going to hit that threshold pretty quick. So you might not be able to get through. The advantage to having alternate methods of communication, if you have access to a landline somewhere and you have your hard copy of your contacts, you could still call everyone that you need to know. You still have an alternate method. Along those same lines, if you have access, you may not have access to cell phone network, but the internet could still work. If you have the internet, you could still send them an email. It's not the most direct form of communication, but it's still a form of communication. Same with social media. You can hit them up on any platform that they're on, send them a direct message, send them a messenger, send them, whatever messaging platform that it has, the direct messaging to send it to them. It's an option to get that to them. So with that, again, hard copy of it, straight up piece of paper. Make sure that everybody that's in your little circle of people that you're responsible for has one and knows what it's for. So that, again, it's just as important that they can reach you as it is that you can reach them. Because ultimately, if they're not home with you, and realistically, when disaster or something happens, you're probably not going to all be together. So the advantage of that is you can get in touch with these people. You can make a quick call, send them a text, and let them know. If they're not with you, you'll find out where they are. You can verify whether they're safe, whether they're injured, and then from there take it into, okay, if you're safe where you are, maybe stay there. Or if you're, give them directions to come to your house, directions to come to where you're going to meet people at. So it's important that that is in there so that you have a method of communication and being able to get in touch with everyone. On top of that, I usually recommend people scan some copies of things like your ID, your driver's license, your passports. A copy of either of those are not legally binding, so please don't go and drive anywhere with a copy of your driver's license. You have to have the original, but it can also, in worst case, help you reestablish your identity if you're away from things and maybe you don't have your wallet with you. Other things like copies of all of your utilities. So lights, water, internet, cable, anything like that is a utility at your house. Make a copy of your last bill. Specifically, make sure that it has your account number, and if there's a 24-hour contact number, that number is listed on there. Again, the idea is you're not going to be at your house, so if you need to call and cancel utility, report anything, a gas link, a service outage, or whatever, you have the 24-hour number, you have your account number. While you're there, scan in a copy of your insurance policies, your renters, your homeowners, your car insurance. Again, the important things on that, make sure you have your agent name, your policy number, and the 24-hour number to file a claim. Again, just like with the utilities, if something happens to your house and you're not in your house and you need to call your agent and start the claim process, they're going to ask you some of this information. Once you have all that scanned in, the most convenient thing to do is to save it all to a jump drive. So this is where we actually are going to start inlaying a little cost. If you don't have a little jump drive floating around, I picked this one up on Amazon. It is, 32 gig. I paid $5 for it. You already have all the stuff scanned in. Same with the contact list. You scan a copy of it in, save it on a jump drive. That goes in your go bag. And then finally, as far as methods of communication, you're going to want to know what's going on the outside world. You're going to want, ultimately, I would say have a radio. But again, since this is a base go bag, we're looking at getting in as cheaply as we can. I recommend looking at a cell phone app for the radio stations in your area. The area that I'm in, most of the stations, FM and AM, are part of the iHeartRadio media conglomerate. So I can have access to several of my local stations by downloading that single app on my cell phone. The advantage to that is, A, you don't have to have another piece of equipment to carry around, potentially lose or break. B, you're going to have your phone with you. And then, like I said, you can have, depending on the size of the media outlet, you can have multiple stations in one app. So this is vital for communication because, again, once you've established that you're safe and your family's safe, you're going to want to know what's going on. And local radio is still a great way for that. You can't necessarily rely on there being power for TV. This is something that you could take with you anywhere that you are out in the world. You're going to be able to receive radio broadcast. And if you have the app on your cell phone, if you have anywhere that you have internet or cell phone signal, you're going to be able to receive that data and get the information from news stations as to what's going on. If nothing else, it gives you the severity of the incident, so you can find out what's going on. Maybe a tornado moves through your area, but the next town over is completely fine. So if you could get to there, you have a safe place to be. So that covers communication. All right, now we're on to sanitation. You're away from your house. You probably are not going to have access to a shower, or you might not, for a day or so. You still want to be able to take care of yourself, make sure that you're clean, make sure that you're available or presentable to be around other people. So ways to keep yourself clean. Here we have these every time you go to the dentist, at least with my dentist, you always come home with one of these little care packages. You get a Trials House toothpaste, a small thing of dental floss, and a brand new toothbrush. I keep that all in the bag, and I always have one of these in every go bag that I maintain. They're great to have. They're essentials, and again, there's no cost to that. The same for these little things. Anytime you go to a restaurant, and especially like rib places and stuff where the stuff that you're eating is not that clean, they'll give you these little moist towelettes, hand cleaners and stuff. Use the ones that you need and save the rest. So they're not quite the same thing as being able to take a hot shower, but believe me, in a pinch, they make a huge difference. So again, with all of this, so far the outlay cost is zero. The only thing in the sanitation section that I did actually have to buy, I picked up a travel size deodorant. I got this for, I believe, $1, maybe $1.25. I'll put the actual price up when I can verify from the receipt. So everything you need there at a very minimal cost to stay clean and presentable. All right, for the next section, food and water. Obviously, two very important things for survival. So the standard rule is that the average person needs 3 gallons of water per day to prevent dehydration. Obviously, you're not going to be able to carry 3 gallons of water with you. That would take up a lot of space. It would also be heavy. And then again, if you're looking at being out of your house for up to 3 days, that's quite a lot of water to carry around. So my recommendation on that, you probably have tons of these sitting around. Grab a basic water bottle. It doesn't even have to be anything fancy. It can be just an empty water bottle that you've literally just drank the water out of, and stuff that in the go bag. Assuming that you live in an area that's similar to where I am, where it's, I live in the suburbs, and my wife and I live in the suburbs. So the odds are pretty strong that we're going to, even if we needed to evacuate the house, we would get to a point where we could have fresh water available to us. If nothing else, somewhere where we could fill a water bottle up. We're not so far out that we're expecting to have to camp, make our own fire, purify our own water, that sort of thing. So the advantage to that is pretty good in that, we already have a lot of that going for us. So grab a water bottle. Again, this one we had sitting on a shelf. Nobody was using it. It gets stuck in a go bag. Cost on that now is nothing since we already had it here. For food, you're looking at some different options. So you'll want things that are shelf stable, which means you don't have to refrigerate them, you don't have to freeze them. Things that if you could find them on the store in the non-refrigerated section sitting on a shelf, that's great. So you know those are shelf stable. You don't have to worry about them. You don't have to worry about them spoiling. Preferably something with a long shelf life. You also want something that is going to be reasonably calorie dense, because again, you don't want to carry a lot of food around. This way you can carry a couple days worth and not have an excessive amount of stuff. So as far as shelf stable food, you're looking at things like nuts, trail mix, anything like that. This one, as you can see, you're looking at about 500 calories for the entire bag. Not bad considering it takes, let's get that in there. Yeah, not quite 3 ounces. Small package, easy to maneuver. Looking at about the same with this one, about 400 calories. So nuts and trail mix, great for go bags, shelf stable. You don't have to worry about refrigeration. You don't have to worry about, if you happen to leave them in your car for a while, they're going to be okay. These individual tuna packets are also great. Calorie-wise, they're a little lower. They're about 80 calories a packet. But it gives you a variety, gives you some protein. Also nice and cheap, also shelf stable. Things like meal replacement bars. Again, you're looking at about 200 calories a bar. These are not a bad choice. My recommendation would be to kind of steer away from things that have chocolate on them, just because, again, you might have the bag in your car for a while and it might be warm and the chocolate would get all melty. Again, still a good choice. Protein bars, energy bars. You typically want to look at things that are actually marketed as meal replacement bars. Those tend to be larger and have, if nothing, at the bottom line, they have more calories to them. They were designed to be eaten instead of a full meal. So it's something that you can pack in. So when you're looking at things like this, the meal replacement bars obviously are going to be the most expensive. I believe those were about $3. So for this go bag, I'm probably not going to use them. Peanuts, I was able to get them on sale. I got this bag for 75 cents. Trail mix, checking my list, is about the same. And then the packs of tuna I got for about $1.25. So when it comes time to put everything together, we'll get the appropriate amount of it. But again, you're looking at stuff that is portable, shelf stable, not very expensive, and easy to maintain. I know a lot of people like the thought of MREs, the military rations. They're great, except for the fact that they actually take up a lot of room, and they're kind of heavy. With your go bag, you want it to be small and portable, and so carrying 3 days worth of MREs around, it's going to take up a lot of space. Same with dehydrated food, the backpacker stuff. It's great to have. It's very light. It doesn't take up a lot of room. The only problem with that is, in order to eat it, you have to reconstitute it. You have to put water in it, even cold water, preferably hot water, so you can have a hot meal out of it. So it just adds an extra step. It adds an extra complication. My philosophy is stuff in your go bag should be stuff that you're willing to just grab and go. So you might be eating this on while walking. You might be eating this while driving somewhere. You really don't want to have too many complications to it. All right, now that we got all the important stuff out, this is like a miscellaneous section. So first and foremost, since we are reliant so much on our cell phones, it's always best to have some type of cell phone battery pack in your go bag. This is probably the only thing that you don't want to actually keep in your go bag. This is something that you would want to have charged ahead of time, ready to grab, stick in the bag, and go. For what it's worth, for mine, I have calendar reminders set up. So every quarter, I have a calendar reminder that prompts me to go through my go bag, make sure that everything in there is still where it needs to be, make sure that the stuff in there is not expired. It's also a great time to swap out the clothing all go bags you should have a change of clothes in there. Should be weather appropriate. So that's a great time to make sure that you're not coming into summer and you have, sweatpants and a hoodie in your go bag. Also during that time, pull out my cell phone battery packs, and charge them. And we'll make sure that they're completely charged. Check the batteries and stuff. Anything that has a battery, that's a great time to check it. If you don't have an extra one, this particular one, you can see I got it from the clearance section of Target for $10. I've seen these on Amazon for about the same price, so you're going to be able to get one of those for about $10. Same with flashlight. Flashlight is always super handy to have. This one I bought brand new. That one cost me $2, and that included the batteries. Probably before I put them in the go bag, I would replace those with what I would assume to be higher quality batteries. But for $2, you can't go wrong. That's always a great thing to have. And again, you're looking at things where it's not super important, but it's stuff that's just great to have. When you need it, you really need it. Same with pen and paper. I don't associate any cost with that. I just grabbed an extra pad of paper and an extra pen that I had laying around. So the cost for the go bag on that one is free. Pen and paper is great because you never know when you're going to be in a situation where you need to leave a note for someone, write a note to someone, just take some information down. Again, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, because you don't want to get stuck without it. Then you get into little things like zip ties. They're one of those items that they don't have a specific use, but I put them in everything. My go-to is between zip ties, plastic bags, and duct tape. That's what I consider the holy trinity of prepping. Those are things that you should never leave home without. They should be in all of your go bags. They should be in all of your vehicles, because again, you don't know what you'll use them for until you get into a situation where you could use them. Zip ties are great if you need to do like on the spot field repairs, bond something together. If you're, a strap on your go bag breaks, you usually repair it with that. Awesome for that. I always have some around the house, so you can buy them. They don't cost a lot. These essentially, I took them out of a big bag and just stuck them in there. So I'm calling the actual cost on those for the bag $0. Same with our bags. These are just extra plastic bags. You can go as far as putting in, if you have like a small tarp for some of my larger go bags, I have a tarp in them. Even if you don't want to use regular shopping bags, throw a trash bag or two in there. Bags like that are great because they're plastic, so they're waterproof. So if you happen to be out in the rain, trash bag, pop a hole in the top, makes a great impromptu poncho. It's great to keep things dry. It's great to just put things in and help you carry them. If you're out and you just need to set something down and maybe the ground's wet, it makes a great barrier between you and the wet ground. So always super important to have. Great thing to keep in there. We all survived 2020, so we probably always have a bunch of these floating around. Masks are great because if you're out and say you're having to leave because of fire and there's smoke and dust particles or whatever in the air, it's always great to have some type of barrier between you and the air to keep it more breathable. So again, I found those in our drawer. I stuck them in the go bag. I'm assigning like a $0 cost to that. Same with duct tape. Duct tape is amazing. Now, if you don't want to use the whole roll, you can do what I've suggested people to do is rip some off. I'll take this off camera. And then take an old gift card or something and just kind of line the tape around that. And doing it a little bit blind here. And this way you could put several yards of duct tape on something and then have it in basically a credit card size patch. So you're carrying this around instead of carrying around a full roll of duct tape. This is heavy, takes up a lot of room. This, generally when you're out, you're not going to need 200 yards of duct tape. Sometimes you might need just, a handful, a few inches, maybe a yard or two. Super easy way to carry it around. Very convenient because you could take one roll of duct tape and a few pieces of plastic and outfit all of your go bags. They add very, very little weight and take up practically no room. Great thing to have. And finally, some type of first aid kit. These are really basic ones. This one was $1, and you can see it is 15 items. So basically it's 15 bandages and some alcohol pads. This one was a little larger, so it cost a little more. This one was $3. Unless I make a mistake, I'll correct it when I put the price up. But you can see it has a little more in there. Still has some bandages, some gauze pads, and this one has something to kind of take the sting out of insect stings. Great thing to have. I mean, again, you just want the basics covered. In this basic go bag, you're not going to want to pack a full trauma kit in there, but you do want to be able to, if you do get a cut or a minor injury, you want to be able to treat it. All right, so wrapping up, I threw it all together, and other than a weather appropriate change of clothes, so shirt, pants, underwear, socks, this is everything that we have talked about to throw in there for your basic go bag, other than the bag itself. So we should have all of our bases covered. We've got food and water. We have a water bottle for water. We have some shelf-stable, calorie-dense food. We have a jump drive here with all of our contact information, important documents, all of that stuff saved to it. We have a battery pack for our flashlight. First aid kit. Sanitation is covered. Toothbrush, toothpaste, floss, deodorant. We have a baggie with some moist towelettes, pen and paper, flashlight, some duct tape, some zip ties, some plastic, a few face masks for some protection in case we're out. And that is essentially the contents of a very basic go bag. And if my math is coming in correctly, we should be coming in at just under $25. So this is a great place to start. Again, you can build from here, and we'll have further videos later as to how to expand on that. But for 25 bucks, this is a great way to get started. Okay, so let's go over everything from a cost perspective. We'll go through the list one more time, and we'll see how close we made it to our goal. So we've got the bag. We're recycling a bag, so there's no charge for that. Going into the communication section, our emergency contact list, that's just a list of people, so there's no contact there, no cost there, no cost for our important documents. Scanning them to the jump drive. So I assumed that we didn't have a jump drive hanging around, so we have $5 in that. Local radio app on your cell phone, no cost for that. Going into sanitation, the toothbrush, toothpaste, and floss are no cost there. I paid $1 for some travel deodorant. Sanitary wipes were all free. I just kind of lifted those from restaurants. Food and water for the water bottle, that was no cost. For the food, I ended up packing in 2 of those packets of tuna and 2 packets of, technically 1 packet of peanut and 1 packet of trail mix. Total cost on that was $4. Into some other things and miscellaneous, pen and paper, zip ties, duct tape, trash bags, those all had no cost. The battery pack for the cell phone, like I mentioned, I'd found them for as cheap as $8 on Amazon. The one that I had cost $10, so we'll say a $10 cost for that. The small first aid kit was $3 and the flashlight was $2. So if my math is correct, we total that up and give us right at our $25. So we made it, $25 for a fully functional go bag. All right, so we made it, and we did it. This go bag, fully functional for $25. So we met our goal. Now, it's important to note that this, even though it is some preparation, and some preparation is better than no preparation, this is obviously not everything you need if you were going to be away from your house for the full 72 hours. This is closer to about a 24-hour go bag, but hey, it's a great place to start. Again, some preparation is better than no preparation. And if you had this, all $25 worth of it, and you needed it, believe me, you would be very glad that you had it put together. So that brings us to the end of this video. I appreciate you making it this far with me. Hopefully I had some information in there that was useful to you. If there was, I would appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to the channel, leaving a like on the video, dropping me a comment. If there's anything in there that you think I could have done differently, things I could have found cheaper, things that you feel like I left out, drop me a comment. This is a small channel. This is a new channel. This is my very first video. So anything that you can do to help me build the channel better and increase engagement, it's going to be better for all of us in the long run. So like and subscribe. And again, I appreciate you following me along this far, and hopefully you got some good information out of it. So until next time, stay safe, and remember, if you are ready, then you don't have to get ready. We'll see you next time.